Okay, we're going to talk quick on how to sample into the MV-8800 from an outside audio source like a turntable, tape player, your cell phone if you have an aux cord with quarter jack, like that. It would be the same process with any outside audio source. So you're going to bring up the sampling menu. I'll exit out quick and show you how to do that. If you're using the computer monitor, you're going to hit this microphone. Follow my cursor. This microphone right here brings up the sampling. If you don't have the monitor with the mouse, you're going to bring it up by using this button here. It opens the same menu. This menu come up, sample type stereo or mono. Mine's hooked in stereo. If you're only using one input, you're going to use the left input and switch that to mono. And then you're going to come over here to input select, and you're going to select analog left. Then you got analog left and right. You also have coaxial. Hook up to coaxial. You got the optical, which is the digital input output, and then the R bus, which is like a kind of looks like a VGA. I'm not going to show you the back, but if you have an R bus, you know what an R bus is. If you don't, then don't even worry about that. I don't have any of that hooked up. Start trigger. That means when is the sampler going to start sampling. You can have it set to level, and then you set the decibels here on where you want those decibels to be where when the sampler starts sampling audio. So obviously you're going to want to set it kind of low so that as soon as your turntable turns on, it starts sampling. I would suggest anywhere from -18, -12 dB. Uh, the other option is pad. So if you were to hit the pad, that's when it would start sampling. Or when you hit the play button, that's when it would start sampling. I keep mine on manual, and then I just hit the start button right here. Before you start sampling, you're going to want to preview your audio coming in to see what the level is. You're going to want to keep it somewhere around this -4. You do not want to see the red turn on. When you record into the MV-8800, you are changing the analog audio signal to a digital signal. When you see the meter hit the red, that's what's called clipping. That's why this says clip here. For anybody who doesn't know, somebody who's new to this, when you clip into digital audio, it completely destroys that audio signal. There is no fixing that. It's not like an analog mixer where you would turn the gain up to get maybe some distortion or some fuzz or a little bit of character onto that analog signal. That's like how preamps work and how they get that warmth to their sound is they crank that gain up. Sometimes, especially in analog drums, you kind of crank that gain up right to that point where it's almost distorted. Um, you do not want to do that when you're recording into a digital device, which the MV-8800 is digital on the internals. Anything external of it is analog. Same as if you were recording into your PC and using an audio interface, you would not want that signal to be clipping. So you'd never want to see your view meter turning red. Yellow is good, green is great. You want to have it in that comfort zone. So I like to keep mine somewhere around -4 decibels, and you're pretty safe right there. If you were to resample, which would be sampling from the internal audio of the MV-8800, I'll just go over this real quick. I'd say you were layering drums, you put like 3 snare drums on top of each other, or 2 snares and a clap, whatever it is. You layered some drums, you EQ'd them, you put a filter on them, you got them sounding the way that you wanted to get them to sound, and then you wanted to turn that into just one sample versus the three drums that you layered. So you would hit resample, you'd play it, and then it would resample from the 88 MV-8800 right back into itself, and create a brand new wave file of that those layered snares. Uh, Same thing with the trigger; it's going to work the same way. But back to bringing the audio in, the stop trigger is just when the sampler stops. So I keep both of mine on manual. I start it by itself with the start button, and then I stop it when I'm done. You could change this to beats, like how many beats, and then once it gets to that many beats, it stops sampling. You can change it to time. You say you set it to 10 seconds because you know that your sample is 10 seconds long. It's going to stop sampling after 10 seconds. Those are great features. I just don't really use them. I'd rather just do it manually, and then I will uh, trim those wave files the way that I need to trim them while I'm chopping. So you're going to adjust your audio inputs on these knobs here. This is your left one, your left channel, your right channel, and that's on the phono and on the line inputs. You can't use the phono and the line inputs at the same time. It will, as soon as you plug in the quarter-inch TRS into the back of this unit, it cancels out the phono. It intercepts it, so it can't record through the phono. So if you're, say you have your quarter jacks hooked up to a microphone or a mixer or something like that, and then you hooked up the phono and you weren't getting any sound, it's because you need to disconnect those line inputs um, from that unit. I wish they didn't do that, but I mean, there's nothing we can do about that now, obviously. Um, so left, right, if you were using mono, you're just going to use on the left one. And when you're not using those, keep those turned all the way down because they do pick up noise. Back to the sampler screen here. I'm just going to fire up this turntable and show you what it looks like when it's sampling. We're going to hit start. Start up my and then hit stop. Now the turntable is actually still playing, uh, but you can't hear it because once you've told it to stop sampling, it shuts the audio input off until you exit out of this screen. So if I was to just exit out of this, you would start to hear the turntable playing again. I'm not going to get into chopping this, but this menu right here is the exact same menu as my last video on chopping the samples up. So you would just go to quick assign, go through the chop process, or if you were just going to use it as a loop, then you just tell it how many beats it is, normalize it, which is what I always do. Trim the front of this off, or pick where you wanted it to start, because I started early. A lot of that I didn't want it. I wanted just that last little bit. I'm pretty sure a lot of you that are watching this are going to be able to figure out what part of this I was going to sample. So say I exit out, see it's still playing. That's how you sample into the MV-8800. Really easy. And then you just chop it up and turn it into a patch or an audio phrase, just like you saw in my last video. If you did not watch that, just go to my channel, see the auto chop feature. It shows you how to chop up the sample. I get a little more into it than just the auto chop, show you how to move some of the cursors around and things like that to select your own chops. That's about it for sampling the MV-8800. Thanks for watching.